it's not really anything new. But we were speaking with one of Lamar's family members previous to getting on live. Thelonius Lamar Green. He went by Lamar. He was 54 years old when he went missing on June 4th. He would have celebrated his 55th birthday shortly after. He was last seen at a party, a graduation party near Penny Creek Landing. Family friend, family event. He left that night around 9:30. When he left, no one saw him or heard from him again. We were contacted by Ethel, his wife. She had contacted us directly, or she had contacted me directly. In speaking to her, I had passed the case information on to Jacob, and we had, kind of looked at maps, things like that. Then Ethel called one day while you and I were together, working on a different case, and we got more information from her. His home address, her home address, the address for the party, the address for one of his children. So from there, we really started looking at maps while we were on the phone with her, and we were asking questions and where, possibilities of different routes, and where did he like to go? Did he have favorite spots?
Lisa, sounds very low. You're gonna speak up.
Sorry, I'll try to talk louder. I feel like I'm yelling.
See if this will help.
In doing that, while we were on the phone with Ethel, we looked at a calendar, and Jacob said we can head down there on the 6th. We left Wednesday. We got down here Thursday morning. Not that it's hard to imagine, but we turned a 10, 11-hour drive into a 15 or 16-hour drive.
Now you're yelling.
No, I know.
Somebody says the volume was fine. Sorry, guys. We just got a text that said that we were low, but go ahead. Sorry.
So we arrived Thursday morning. We got to our campsite about 6 or 7 a.m. We went straight to bed, caught a couple hours of sleep, and our first location to search was going to be Penny Creek Landing, because he was on that road last. No one was able to really kind of say which way he went when he left the party. Closest body of water, first choice. In doing so, we went into Penny Creek. We were able to use the bigger boat, Kyle's boat. We sonared around the first bend. Kind of thought we had seen something, weren't too sure. Knew we would have to go back by that spot, so we chose to continue on. In doing so, we did find a vehicle, and that was the vehicle that Jacob had posted on Facebook. And then from there, we went back to that original bend right after the boat ramp, and we searched and we sonared and we dropped down the Mega Live, and we used the magnet, I'm pretty sure, and there was something that caused us enough concern to say, let's come back. We wanted to dive the car that we had found, but we also wanted to check that one location. When we returned the next day, on Friday, the tide was going out. It was low. We couldn't put the boat in.
It was horrible. It was a stream.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I love you guys, but
So
it is absolutely hot in here.
Where we were at in South Carolina, a lot of the rivers all flow down into, all flow out into the ocean. So a lot of these rivers and waterways are tide controlled, I guess. There's low tide and there's high tide, and so not being able to put in at Penny Creek that second day, we knew that we could put in at Willtown Bluff Boat Landing, because even at low tide, that's still deep. So we chose to go there. We did the boat ramp, nothing at the boat ramp. Then we went, if you're standing on the boat ramp looking at the water, we went to the left, cleared that area, saw some crab cages or something.
The one thing that you had a question on was a daggum furnace.
A furnace. So in doing so, then we started to work our way back towards the right. Again, checking the boat ramp a little bit farther out. When we got down approximately 150 to 200 yards.
Well, no. When I said 200 yards, telling the law enforcement, I meant 200 feet.
Okay.
It's about
about 150 to 200 feet down from the boat ramp. We saw something. It was flashy. It didn't have a lot of structure on the feedback, but the shadow is what caught our attention. And looking at that shadow, it was very clearly a larger vehicle. You could tell that it was, and the way that it was its orientation in the water, it was kind of upside down, laying on its side, but leaning a little bit more on the roof. We spent 2 hours going back and forth and back and forth. It was also where it had entered the water and where it had laid. It had created a ridge around it of the silt and the sediment going over it. So finding it was a little bit more difficult. It wasn't your typical what you guys would see when we show sonar, a vehicle that's been missing for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years.
We actually, with seeing the vehicle, yeah, I want the picture if you don't mind. With seeing this vehicle, I knew at the beginning. I said, Lindsay, this is a larger vehicle, but we wanted to make sure that our time spent was utilized correctly. And to get ready, I don't know if you all know this, it takes me 30 minutes to 45 minutes because I'm fat and I can't fit in my wetsuit. So 45 minutes, sometimes even an hour, sometimes I lag. Regardless, I didn't want to waste searching time to dive on this vehicle if it wasn't a super potential vehicle at the time.
So again, sonared over and over. Jacob will show you guys the photo.
So that's the truck, guys,
So,
right here.
Seeing the truck, you don't see the truck, you see the shadow.
There's a shadow right there. Now, we continue to go over that.
We did mark it on Friday. We went back to the boat ramp. We were going to dive it on Friday.
Go ahead, keep talking.
However, as we had made it back to the boat ramp and Jake was getting ready to get dressed out, a storm was rolling in. Not necessarily the safest situation. Jacob would have actually been safer in the water than I would have been on the boat. So we had chose at that point in time to call the dive for Friday evening, knowing we could go back Saturday. We pulled our markers. Saturday morning, we spoke with Ethel. We let her know what we had found. We had let her know that we had found a larger object that we did believe to be a vehicle. The potential for it to be the truck was high. As far as reviewing the footage, the film, and everything else, it matched what we were looking for in width and length and all of that. We tried to keep in contact with Ethel as much as we possibly could, but where we're at, where we're staying, and where we're searching, the service is
none.
Spotty at best. So Saturday morning we went out. We found the vehicle again. We marked it. Went back. Jacob dressed right as we were getting ready to hit the water. Downpour. So for some of those who may be familiar with the South, It rains in the south every day, sometime between 2 and 4. That's how you know what time it is. It's a quick, hard downpour rain for 10, 15 minutes. Most of the time, the sun is even shining.
This one wasn't one.
Yeah, that was one yesterday. In the beginning, when you first went out. So anyway, it started downpour, so we went back in and waited, in the RV for a little bit longer till that passed. Once that was over, we had an opening. High tide was coming up. More bad weather was coming in. We had a very small window of time to work in. Got in the boat, went over. Jacob dove down. We had already discussed before we left the RV that as soon as he hit the water, he was going down. He wasn't. Normally we'll have a conversation once he's in the water, how the current is, how the water is, that kind of things, just so I know kind of what he's facing when he's down there. As soon as he hit the water yesterday, the only thing he said was, "Oh my gosh, there's a current here." And then he went under. I guess if you want to explain kind of some of the conditions of the dive.
I want you all to do something. I want you all to close your eyes and put your hand over your face. That's what I seen last night or yesterday. At the time, there was no viz. I didn't even hardly. I think I see my line for a brief second. I wasn't letting go of my line. I've been in current. I consider myself a little bit more of a skilled diver. I was not nervous, because usually when I get nervous, I get out, I don't dive. I was confident, but yet there was something in my mind saying, you need to come back up, because there's something wrong, and you don't know what's going on. I've never worked with tidal, what do they call it? Tidal waters. Tidal waters. When I went down, I was okay. When I got super low, I felt like I was in kind of like a whirlpool. Around the car, it was making an eddy. And with the eddy, I've had this happen before. And it's simple. All you have to do is get behind the car. Well, when I got behind the car, I got thrown around and slammed against the car. And I'm like, all right, enough screwing around. I grabbed a hold of the rope and I pulled myself to the back of the car, back of the truck, with the truck. At first, when I first came down, I felt something and I didn't know what it was. And I'm like, what the heck is this? And it just dawned on me, because you literally feel with your hands, it's like Braille. And I have my eyes closed because obviously I couldn't see anything, and I concentrate with my eyes closed when I dive. So anyway, I felt it. I said, oh my goodness, this is the receiver. So with the receiver, I tried to feel the orientation of the vehicle, because it was like a 3-way or a 4-way. So I couldn't figure out which way the truck was pointed, because obviously I had a feel. Regardless, I found the license plate and I immediately shot back up, because I knew I was in an uncomfortable position. And as a diver, safety-wise, yeah, I may have taken a risk by diving. I felt confident, and it's a learning experience for me. Did I feel like I was in fear of my life? Absolutely not. Did I feel uncomfortable? Yes. Did I handle the situation correctly? I think so.
I think in this situation, because there's a lot of, having the tide come in and the tide go out, the surface of the water looked pretty calm for the most part. Even as, the tide was really moving back in. However, underneath the water was a totally different story. On top of, the rip tides and things like that, there was also marine life that we are not accustomed to. There are alligators, there are several different breeds of sharks, there are grouper in the area, sturgeon, tarpon, and some of these aren't necessarily dangerous or will attack you, but if a sturgeon is swimming and it hits you, or a tarpon is swimming and it hits you, you're going to feel it.
With that being so close to the ocean, when the tide comes in, I feel like it brings in most of that salt water. Now, I may be wrong. I may be completely wrong. But I do know that I've seen dolphins in there. So if dolphins are in there, then there could be other. Regardless, I ain't scared of much. But if something touches me underwater that I can't see and I don't know, it's a little unnerving.
So, yesterday's dive was just something we're always really cautious, always really, pay a lot of attention to the surroundings, things like that. But yesterday we were definitely hyper vigilant. Jacob came back up out of the water, and it was so fast that I assumed that he either was going to come up and say we had come off of the vehicle as far as our markers, or that it was, a different structure. What I never in my mind thought was that he couldn't see and how bad it was down there. I can't see down there. So when he came up, and at first I was fully prepared for him to say, oh, we came off the vehicle or something, with the tide coming in. And the next thing I know, he sat the license plate up on the boat. And I looked at it and I immediately knew. And when Jacob came up, he just had, this normal look on his face. When Jacob comes up with plates that he knows are belonging to the vehicle that we're searching for, he and I don't have to say anything to each other. I know immediately. So when he came up and he just looked at me normally and put the plates on the truck,
On the boat.
or on the boat, the truck plates on the boat, and I saw that first letter, I knew. And then it kind of took me back for a second because I
couldn't see.
His face wasn't like I couldn't read his face, so I was like, why would you just put it up there and not, my reaction
Told me.
is what told Jacob that we had just found the right plates. I felt horrible for that after I realized what had happened down there, and him coming to the surface. He couldn't see the plates until he got up onto the boat. So he was trying to catch his breath and just take a second. I definitely was rushing him out of the water. There was a storm coming in, but there were also some things swimming around that I didn't want to necessarily alarm him about, that I just wanted him to be like, okay, let's get out of the water. Okay, like, I need you to take your chill moment on the boat. Get out of the water. So we got him out. Both just kind of looked at each other like, okay. And then began to mentally prepare ourselves for the phone calls we were going to make. We spoke with Ethel. We had let her know, because that was a promise that we had made to her, that we were going to let her know. Even if law enforcement had already let her know or had let her know after us, we had told her that she would hear from us if we found something. That's a promise that we made, and that's a promise that we will keep. And then I had called Charleston County Dispatch because that's where the case was out of. In doing so, because Charleston County is so large, it took them a little bit longer to look up the case, to find the information. The dispatch was able to do that. She was incredibly polite. She apologized. She's like, I'm so sorry, just bear with me. And I was like, I totally understand. She let us know that deputies were on the way. So we had pulled the boat out of the water. We left our magnets and our markers on the truck. We pulled the boat out of the water, but we were still down by the boat ramp. Deputies arrived on scene. They got a kind of brief description of who we were searching for, what we had found, where it was at, and they got our information, and then they let us know that investigators and chain of command would be out as soon as possible. From there, people started rolling in. At that point in time, we were told that they have their own dive team, which we fully expected. A lot of these coastal areas, water, things like this in this area have their own dive teams, or several counties will come together to create a dive team, that kind of thing. So we had already expected that they had their own dive team. Jacob stayed dressed. When they arrived, the investigators, one of the investigators or detectives was actually part of the dive team. So he'd come in and he had spoken to us, and Jacob had offered him whatever we have as theirs. They also, whatever, if they needed him for anything, if they needed him to get back in the water, or if they needed him to, whatever we had, it was for them. We shared the photos and the images and some of the video clips that had clear images of the truck on it, so that way they could have a good orientation of the vehicle, how it was. They were prepared. It was explained to us that should there be remains in the truck, that it then becomes the coroner's scene. The coroner takes over, and then he kind of controls the rest of the narrative as far as when it comes out, how it comes out, that kind of thing. We waited for a little bit longer until a plan was kind of developed. At that point in time, they had asked us to move the RV up the ramp, which we were more than happy to do because their dive team was bringing in their truck, which I'm sure that they want more, or could use more, or need better, or upgrades, or whatever, but
I want their truck.
Their truck and the equipment that they had in it is top notch.
They were a great dive team.
They were fantastic, and they were in what we saw when we were at the boat ramp, and speaking to some of them and stuff, very organized, very methodical, but also let's get this done, quickly but safely. In moving the RV up the ramp, we had moved it, far enough so that way, law enforcement could park and all of that stuff. Unfortunately, when we had moved the RV up, when we had went to go back down, they had already roped it off, and due to their procedures and things like that, we weren't able to go back down. Neither of us wanted to be there for video purposes per se, but it's something for me, and I think I can speak for Jacob in saying that being present when that car is being removed, whether it's us or somebody else doing it, it's kind of that finality. It's us seeing it all the way through, but it's also being the presence for the family, because the family can't always be there, and it's also being a voice for the voiceless. In this case, that would be Lamar. We did choose, however, to stay on site. That's something that we always do. That's something that we feel is, our way to
healing process.
Yeah, to kind of start processing things, pay our respects. So we did stay on site until his truck was fully removed. At that time, they had told us that there were remains in it. Obviously, DNA confirmation, I'm assuming, will be done, but presumably, as of right now, the remains that were in there did belong to Lamar. My only, I don't want to say negative thing about this situation, and I think it's just something that's a learning process for us and hopefully Charleston County. Everybody that we encountered was extremely respectful. I cannot say enough good things about how we were treated, as far as almost every single person on scene came up to us at some point in time individually and said, "Thank you for what you do. If you're in the area again and I can help, let me know. I will come dive with you. I will come whatever. I'll help you search whatever you guys need."
Super awesome.
Super amazing. They were very thankful, but again, because of their procedures and how they do things, we weren't allowed to be on scene. My only thing from this is that as this movement grows bigger and bigger, I really want to find a way for law enforcement to see us as a resource and as an asset. I want them to know that we're only here to help them. I don't want a bad relationship to develop. I don't ever want this to prevent us from helping another family. That's something that I don't ever want. Again, they were extremely respectful. We weren't allowed to record, which is fine. I get that. They did let us fly the drone for a little bit, but again, just not being able to be down on that boat ramp when everything was happening. I want them, I want Charleston County and any other law enforcement agency that we encounter to know that we are only there to help them. Whatever is ours is theirs. And that includes Jacob's dive skills and, his experience and his expertise.
I am a super grunt worker. If anybody has seen our lives that we pull it out vehicles, I'm right next to the dive team 100%. I will do whatever it takes to bring the vehicle home or to bring someone else home. I will do whatever it takes, even if it's, regardless, just name it, I'll do it. And I offered my services several times on different occasions because maybe I could help in some way or fashion. I think we were in the vehicle. It doesn't matter about that, but
the biggest takeaway I think for me and I think for Jacob is, that's something that we can always work on. We can always work on how can we better our relationship with law enforcement to continue helping these families.
Because we're 100% law enforcement.
But
we're there for the families too.
Right. And again, they were incredibly respectful. I just want people to know that we're just there to help. We and nobody else in this movement is about the credit or me or anything like that. Adam Brown had searched this a few weeks ago. He contacted us when he knew we were coming down here, and he said, "Hey, these are the places that I searched." We all talk to each other. Everybody's in this together. We may be individual teams, but as a whole, we do this collectively.
It's all about the family.
So everybody does this together. So it was also disappointing. Again, there were some news stories that were released, which is why we try to come to you guys live before. Again, but with this service, we weren't able to. Where I'm not sure if it was on the news's behalf or whoever's behalf, where Charleston County had said that, or it was said that Charleston County, found the vehicle, found Lamar, recovered Lamar and his vehicle. Again, we aren't in this for credit by any means, but we want to be seen as a resource. So when law enforcement agencies recognize that, it helps us continue. It helps us go on. It helps us help the next family because now somebody else knows about us that maybe didn't know about us before, or can find out about another team that's local or something like that. So
Ethel found out about us because of the news, because of the publicity that you guys give us, the shares, the likes, to get our names out there to help these people is the sole reason why we record. It's the sole reason why that we work closely with the law enforcement. It's like, to better understand what we do, our hearts are with the families. We will do whatever it takes, but we also need law enforcement's backing to do this.
So again, it's not a we want the credit for this. It's that we just want to make sure that we're seen as a resource. We want to make sure that we're seen in that aspect of things. It's not about credit or, who gets the win or who did this and who did that, but we just want to be seen as a resource. In this case, at the end of the day, we can, without scientifically saying yes 100% that was Lamar, we can in our hearts say that Lamar Green has been brought home. I am incredibly thankful to the family for trusting us and for allowing us to help. I'm extremely appreciative to all of you guys. If it wasn't for all of you guys, we wouldn't be on the road right now.
Well, we couldn't be on the road.
Thank you I did not get everybody's name that participated yesterday, but law enforcement, the dive team, Elite Towing, I do remember that because they had parked their rig right next to the RV at one point in time.
Beautiful, beautiful rig. There's 74-ton
Yeah.
out rigging. It was amazing.
So, thank you to everybody, but most importantly, just thank you to Lamar's family again for allowing us to participate and assist in bringing him home, for instilling your faith and your trust in us, and thank you for allowing us to document this. Lamar he did have memory loss due to a brain injury that he had sustained several years ago. He also had some other medical conditions. He was also his father's caretaker. So when he had consistent and constant contact with his dad. Hey, Dad, I'm on my way home. Hey, Dad, I'm here. I just got here. I'm on my way home. I'm 15 minutes. I'm 20 minutes. So when nobody had heard from him, especially his dad, they all knew that something was not right. So in Lamar's case, taking into consideration all of that, and them trusting us with that information. I mean, that's sometimes medical information can be sensitive. So, for them trusting us with that, again, and bringing the story to all of you. There is absolutely no way that we could do this. I'm saddened by the results, but I'm also incredibly grateful that tonight, today, I guess, this morning, it all kind of came to an end this morning when everything was done and, his vehicle was taken up. Their healing process and their grieving process really gets to begin and start. And, they get to lay him to rest properly. So I'm just appreciative to be able to play a small part in that. So
with Hammond saying, thank you for finding my daddy, that hit hard. We're here for the families, guys. You guys are here. You guys are all chaos divers. I got that mosquito. Oh, sorry. You guys are here for us, and I just want to say a special thank you again to the families. A special thanks to the law enforcement who got on scene and did their job. I also want to, she's covered everything. It's
Sorry.
basically, no, you're good. You're fine. What I was trying to say is, with her covering everything, I just want you guys to know that without you, this wouldn't happen. So, as I want you guys to do me a huge favor, and I want you to do the same thing. Okay? All together, as crazy as this may sound, just take this hand. Take this hand. Everybody take this hand. Put it here. Take this hand. Put it here. And I want you guys to squeeze. I want you to squeeze as hard as you can. That was my hug to each and every one of you, because I can't physically be there. I love each and every one of you, and thank you guys so much for your support.
I apologize to anybody who has been chatting or asking questions that we've missed. I've not paid attention to that at all, and I'm sorry, but we wanted to get through and get all of this out. I have seen donations come across, both on here and PayPal, so thank you for that. Again, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for those donations, we wouldn't be here. But please, that you do, just watching, sharing, and liking helps us. You guys helped this family. You helped the last 10 families that we have helped. We couldn't do this. There's just no way. It wouldn't be possible. So, okay, so
what are we at? 35 minutes. In respect for the families, I'm going to say that we'll open it up for about 5 minutes for questions. I will answer a few that I've already seen. The news could have made a mistake, yes, about the whole thing. So I'm not saying Charleston is actually like, hey, we did this. I'm saying
I would say
that's what's out there. Yeah. That's the reason why we do these live streams. We
don't know, if there was an error or a miscommunication or a misprint or whatever. We just want to make sure that they know that we're here for them. If we can help them in any way, we're more than happy to.
Also, somebody was speaking of a reward. Listen, the reward, I don't care.
We didn't even know there was one.
I'm going to tell you, if there's a reward, I want it to go to the family.
Yeah, it needs to go back to the family for any services, any memorials, anything like that they'd like to do, for Lamar. Again,
I had no idea about it. I knew nothing about anything like that.
Yeah, neither of us did. And we will never pick and choose a case based on a reward, because as many of you know, we don't charge the families. We don't accept anything from the families. We don't charge law enforcement either. So
there was another one about. Okay, I forgot already. Sorry. The way they are, probably decide. Okay, so we're going to open it up. If you guys have questions, put QQQ in. And we will answer them as they come in. Hopefully we can get to the questions. Just remember that the whole the family.
Huh? Oh, yeah, I was gonna say there's questions, but yes, the family is in here. Please be respectful.
Yeah.
I'm usually a pretty chipper, fun, loving person. I won't be if you're disrespectful today.
When meeting Ethel for the first time yesterday and giving her that hug after we had found Lamar's truck, it's the best hug I've ever gotten. She was so sweet. Just wanted to say hi. Hi, Crystal.
So a few people I did see ask if the family needed donations. That's something that I'm unsure of at this time. We had spoken to Ethel yesterday to let her know what was going on, and then Jacob spoke with her at the scene, and then we're actually meeting with her either later this evening or later tomorrow evening. So if that is something that if they need help with, then we'll put that out.
Yes, we'll definitely put that out, and just know that whatever we put out, it'll be either on the Facebook channel, or we'll also put it on the YouTube channel. I know our Strong Chaos family will help them as much as they guys help us.
Somebody had asked if it is an accident. At this point in time, we don't know. That's not something that we really involve ourselves with as far as the investigation. But I'm going to assume, and from what I understand of who Lamar was as a person, with his dementia, with his memory loss, that this probably was an accident. But again, that's not something that we typically involve ourselves in. But based off of what we know about him and who he was, I would venture to say yes. But that's my opinion only.
How many cases have you solved? What you do is amazing, Jennifer. As much as it's off topic on this, I mean, it is kind of on topic.
We've brought 11 people home since last October, either solo or with Adventures with Purpose.
I don't like talking about. Okay. Yes.
So again, I think somebody had asked about Adam searching. Adam did search down in this area. He did let us know where he had searched. So we were able to, we went over a couple of the spots that he had searched. We went over some spots that he hadn't searched. That's only because Adam searched, I think it was like a week or two after he went missing. So here we are 4 or 5 weeks after. Things change. Every time we go into a case, and I think this kind of follows for all of the teams, work it as if nobody's worked it before. Because you can miss something that somebody else might see, or things change, or, especially in this case with that tide, in and out, in and out, in and out, sediment and silt can build up real fast. So
with the amount of dirt and me not being able to see, absolutely,
yeah.
There's a lot of turbidity in the water.
Yeah.
With with some of the questions, like I read the sonar almost every single day. I have been taught by Team Waters that I'm going to tell you is the best in the country. Team Waters, Dennis and Tammy have taught me what a vehicle looks like 4 days after, what a vehicle looks like 10 years after. While I accept all the information that Dennis tells me, he may yell at me a few times, but he's a great person in the aspect of Team Waters has solved and brought home so many people. And also, I just want to say thank you to them. But I know my sonar. I know what it is. We dive on everything we see. It is very easily missed, some of the stuff. Nobody's perfect. I don't fault their sonar team at all. And it's just, that's what it is. So
2 questions. One I can answer really quickly. What was the depth? The first day that we marked the vehicle, it was 17 feet. The second day when we came back and remarked it, it was about 6 or 7 feet. And then when Jacob dove it, it was 12-ish. So again, that tide is in and out and in and out. So the depths varied. What the depth was when they pulled the truck, I can't tell you. I wasn't down there. And then somebody else had asked about communication devices. Comms are absolutely something that we want, we need. It's a safety thing. It allows us to communicate, especially because 99% of the time it is just Jacob and I. There is not a second diver. I don't know what he's going through. He doesn't know what I'm going through on top. Unfortunately, comms are extremely expensive. To outfit at one diver is about $4,000. To outfit both he and Eric is about $6,000, and both of that includes comms to the surface. The issue with that is we were working with a company that had offered a partial sponsorship. At that same time, all of our belongings had been taken from us in Atlanta, so any funds that we had saved up for that were reallocated towards, getting equipment back. At that point in time, we felt it was more important to have equipment that would allow us to bring a story to you versus communications. So,
guys, I'm going to take 2 more questions. I don't really want to put this further into this. So, emotionally speaking, do you find this harder to ease? You want to answer that?
Okay, so somebody had asked, emotionally speaking, do you find it is harder or easier on you personally finding answers for a family so soon after they go missing? I don't think there is I think the longer somebody may have gone missing, it seems like the family has kind of already come to terms with the fact that they're gone. It's just a matter of where are they and bringing them home so they know. But as far as easier or harder, I don't think there's an answer for that.
It really isn't.
Jacob is somebody who processes kind of as we're going through it. As soon as he pulls the plates, he begins processing, what did we just do? This is it. He starts immediately. I don't process this until 2-3 weeks after I get home. I don't do it on the road, and I usually take a couple days for myself. I don't answer messages. I don't anything. I just take time for myself, and it's what I have to do. So, but I don't think there's an easier time to do this, because at the end of the day, you're telling somebody that their loved one is gone.
Everyone processes things differently, like she just said. I take walks. I stay by myself. I just kind of like, I process it and then, all right, let's go. Her, she's like, this is the next step. This is what we need to do. She takes charge because I lose it.
Yeah, he's a little more emotional, during and the few days after, and I'm a little more procedural and methodical and what do I got to do? Because that's what helps me get through it. So I think that's just the difference.
One more question, guys, and then we're going to. I'm just going to be flat out honest with you. We're going to enjoy the rest of our evening. We're going to have a nice dinner and celebrate the journey we just went on to bring the family answers that they really needed. So thank you.
There was one about a depth and.
Do you need an aqua view locator? Jeff, I don't know much about that equipment. I don't know. It's almost like a Ghostbuster thing. I don't know. It's just like it's crazy. I've seen it once and I just don't know about it.
So, I'll answer these two quick questions. Somebody said, "Can you do a GoFundMe?" I'm not sure if you're talking about for us or for the family. I'm not big on doing it on behalf of the family because I don't ever want anybody to think that funds are crisscrossed or anything like that. If the family has one or they have some
Other form.
Yeah, other form of fundraising for memorials and burials and things like that, then we're more than happy to share. And then as far as have we spoken to AWP lately, I don't think you may not know this, but Jacob, Jared, and Doug are like high school girls. They cannot stay off the phone with each other. Can't. Oh, and my shirt came from Buc-ee's. So somebody asked.
So what was the thing you were talking about? Oh, the GoFundMe, guys. Listen, you guys give so much. I feel guilty to make a GoFundMe due to the fact that I know you guys would do that for me, and I don't feel right. I don't feel like I can accept money like that. I know it's going to a good cause, but it's still like we're okay with what's going on right now. We're gonna make it because of you guys.
So, quick recap. Thelonius Lamar Green his truck was found. We are under the assumption that the remains that are in the truck do belong to him. Ethel, and to all of his family that may watch this or are currently on here,
Thank you.
thank you, and my condolences and my heart go out to all of you. I just hope that any memories that you have with him outweigh any grief that may come. But just thank you. Thank you for allowing us in your lives and being able, and all of you, thank you for everything that you guys do for him. This man works tirelessly every day. Like 90 miles a minute. Like, what else can I do? What else can I do? How else can I help? Where else can we search?
We may not wake up early in the morning, but we don't stop till dark and sometimes after dark.
He doesn't stop. Cases stick with him. So everything that you guys have done to support him, to see the confidence build in him and his abilities, something that a lot of seen from the beginning. I knew the day that I met him that he was going places, and I'm incredibly grateful to be a part of that. But without your guys' support as well, he wouldn't understand how great he is, and what he's doing is so amazing. So
I finally actually figured out this one. Gave me so much more confidence in reading a sonar than I had before. I don't know why it's this one, but it really is. It was difficult to find.
Again, to any of the these loved ones that may be on here, just thank you, and just thank you. Thank you for allowing us to help you. That it means everything to us.
Well, our internet connection on this has just kind of got really, really choppy. So guys, I love each and every one of you. Hema, it was an honor. And Ethel, the whole family, it was an honor to work for you guys and bring him home. So thank you so much for each and every one of your supports. If you guys haven't checked out chaosdivers.com, check it out. There's links in there that can help another family.
And that's gonna be updated as well too soon. So we'll post something when that's all up and running. So
Keep diving, guys. It's not worth it to stop. Love each and every one of you. And you all have a blessed day.
love you. Bye.
I'll see you guys.